Okay, so we're finally done with the bad Star Wars films, which means technically I'm halfway through this series. Thank God. So, Star Wars Episode 4.
Star Wars.
Star Wars Episode 1, I mean For A New Hope, directed by the guy that lost his way and written by the guy who didn't. Starring the Joker, Indiana Jones, Only One Woman, the Oscar grabber, and Mufasa. You know, interestingly enough, this is both my dad and my uncle's favourite Star Wars film, and while it isn't mine, it is still a great movie, and I can see it holds a special place in a lot of people's hearts. So, let's get on with the review, I guess?
Let's go. Okay then, so let's go. Hold on a sec. Special edition, screw you. I'm taking this one, the original version, because I actually own that. There we go. Yes!
So of course, if you don't know, I'm doing a series of reviews on the Star Wars saga up until Rogue One, and I'm finally on the greatest Star Wars trilogy, which isn't hard to beat. And so first up, here's the infamous opening crawl. Now, I personally don't like opening crawls that much, as long as they're short, to the point, and written well. And to be honest, I haven't seen the episode 5 or 6 ones in a while, however I will say, this is probably the best one out of them. I do still really like episode 3 and episode 7's ones, and as I said, I haven't seen 5 or 6's. But I must say, I do really like this. It's very to the point and instantly takes us to where we are, which I really like. It doesn't go out of its way to explain politics or anything like that. It just said, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys, this is what's going on. That is the main objective. So we start off with the iconic, and that's a word I'm going to be using a lot here. In fact, I'm going to have an iconic count, that's one. First iconic shot is the first shot, weirdly enough. And surprisingly enough, the effects still hold up today. So first, we see rebels preparing for an attack, and we meet R2-D2 and C-3PO. Now, these are two very iconic Star Wars characters, and I've gotta love them for it. Anthony Daniels and Kenny Baker do a great job as these characters, as the writing for the characters is one of the best parts of the movie. So then we're introduced to the iconic stormtroopers, and of course, what we see of the Empire first is pretty impressive. We see a giant ship looming over this small one, firing at it. Then we see them break in and kill everyone. And of course, I think this is really effective writing, screenplay, whatever you want to call it. I'm just saying, I really like how this scene is written. And I think it's a really good opening to a film like this. However, when we get to the stormtroopers, they're tripping all over the place. And, I don't know, they do things like have to maneuver around dead bodies, hit their heads on doors, and I understand that these are extras wearing helmets, they need to be careful where they're moving, but Jesus, these are meant to be your enemies, they're meant to know what they're doing. C-3PO and R2-D2 are moving at an extremely slow pace, and stormtroopers can't hit them. What? And then we meet the iconic Darth Vader with a great design, great backstory, and great voice. However, you'll have to wait for that, unfortunately. Then R2-D2 is inserted plans into him by Princess Leia, who's not meant to be a princess because if her mother was the queen, then Vader would find and kill her. So Vader interrogates a guy Vader style, which is choking him to death. Great way of getting info. And then he uses his hands to block his face or something. I don't know. That's a bit of a problem, but hey. Then Leia's captured, so C-3PO and R2-D2 get an escape pod and leave. And there's another plot hole. The Imperial guys didn't think of destroying an escape pod, even if it had no life forms on it. They do know there are droids on this ship, right? And then the film slows itself down dramatically, as we have a scene essentially of C-3PO complaining to R2-D2 in the sand. Now, I understand this is, well, it's not even world building, it's a desert. That's literally all I need to say. But hey, I'm fine with this. I understand they need to build the world and the characters, but it's just, from the opening we had, this really did like slow it down for me.
I've just about had enough of you. Go that way. You'll be malfunctioning within a day, you nearsighted scrap pile. And don't let me catch you following me, begging for help, because you won't get it.
For a start, I realised the resolution of this is a bit weird. It has a giant black box around it. Whatever, it's still the full movie footage. It's just I can't sort out the resolution of this. And second, this movie is actually pretty funny, and actually has quite a good character with C-3PO and R2-D2, and develops it pretty well. So the two droids split ways, and R2-D2's in this rocky area where he sees these things but doesn't do anything about it, which is pretty funny considering he has jetpacks, flamethrowers, oil shooters and tasers on board. Anyway, he gets shot and falls over. Then he gets sold in the Jawa version of the slave trade. Hashtag droid lives matter. Hashtag 12 years a droid slave. And after 15 minutes, that's right, a quarter of an hour you had to wait before we finally meet our hero, Luke Skywalker.
Of course I can, sir. It's like a second language to me. I'm a
So Uncle Owen tells Luke to get some droids.
I was going into Tashi Station to pick up some power converters.
Jesus Christ. Okay, the one problem I have with this is Luke is, out of the 3 films, Luke is the worst in this film. His acting's a bit wobbly, and also, it reminds me of Anakin Skywalker. A mistake no one should ever make. So R2 and 3PO get new homes, and C-3PO has a bath? What? And R2-D2 is determined to find someone named Obi-Wan Kenobi. Then R2-D2 plays a mysterious message.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
She's beautiful.
She's your sister. But Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru find that R2-D2 is missing, so Luke and 3PO go to rescue him. Only to be attacked by sand people. Oh, what the hell, sand people? Go on, that naming convention. I'm gonna be honest, the way this film is edited isn't that good. Now then, there's a very important thing that happened on Special Edition. Get ready for this. They put a rock in front of R2-D2. Oh my god. Why are the Tuskens running away from one hooded guy who's stumbling on a rock? And second, how did Obi-Wan make that noise? So, we meet the iconic Obi-Wan Kenobi, or Ben Kenobi, whatever you want to call him, played by Alec Guinness, who doesn't remember having droids, so R2-D2's little quest here was entirely pointless. Back in Obi-Wan's place, we learned that Obi-Wan was once a Jedi Knight alongside Luke's father, Anakin. We also learned that he was killed by Darth Vader, a student who was turned to the dark side.
Your father's lightsaber. This is the weapon of a Jedi Knight. Not as clumsy or random as a blaster.
And here we see the iconic lightsaber, which 1977 CGI clearly couldn't hold up for. And then Obi-Wan still doesn't tell Luke that this is his sister. And next, Luke comes across his uncle and aunt's dead, burnt bodies. How is this film suitable for all? So Luke makes the conscious decision to go on a crusade with Obi-Wan, which is exactly what Uncle Owen didn't want. Great way to honour him. So the mission is to give the plans from R2-D2 to Leia's father on Alderaan. However, there's one problem. They don't have a pilot. So the first thing they do, go to a pub. And of course there's the iconic cantina scene, with the iconic music. And here we meet the iconic captain and co-pilot of the iconic ship, the Millennium Falcon.
Yes, indeed. If it's a fast ship.
So they make a deal that Han will take them there. Then Han kills a guy.
Yeah, Oscar.
Yes, I bet you have.
Okay, I'm just gonna say right off the bat, I love Han Solo. Harrison Ford does a great job, and he always says pretty much the same character, which I really like, because he's probably the most entertaining character in this movie. And to be honest, he's actually kind of the most likable, which is weird. But the stormtroopers are on their tail and they have a shootout, and luckily they fly off. And here we get a good idea of the characters and their interactions are what makes this film. If these character interactions didn't exist, I don't think I'd find it as entertaining. And to be honest, I think that's probably the best part of this film, which is just Harrison Ford, Mark Hamill, Alec Guinness, Peter Mayhew, Anthony Daniels. They all work off each other in such a good way, which really makes this film. Next is an interrogation in which Peter Cushing in Slippers threatens to blow up Leia's home planet. She gives the base name, however he still asks for it to be blown up. Bye bye Alderaan. Next, Luke does some lightsaber training, and R2-3PO and Chewbacca play games.
Millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
The prequels! The special editions! Disney! Hold on, did Luke's lightsaber just change colour? Yeah, this is a minor problem with the film, which is the CGI doesn't always seem to hold up. However, most of the time it actually does, but when it doesn't, it's really noticeable. But anyway, that doesn't matter, because then we have a great conversation about the Force between Obi-Wan and Han Solo. Anyway, the group find out that Alderaan is missing and that the Death Star destroyed it, and before they can do anything, the Death Star locks onto them and uses their tractor beam to get them into the Death Star. And they hide in the floorboards. Did the stormtroopers not think to search it more thoroughly first? Anyway, the group disguises stormtroopers and quickly capture somewhere. Where this somewhere is, I don't know, because I'm not bothered to look into it. And well, that's another thing that I think is pretty good in this movie. It's a clever movie and knows what it's doing, and I really do like that about the film. So, Obi-Wan goes off to deactivate the tractor beam. Then R2-D2 finds out that Princess Leia is being held in the Death Star, so Luke, Han and Chewie go to rescue her.
Master Luke, sir, pardon me for asking, but what should R2 and I do if we're discovered here?
Lock the door and hope they don't have blasters.
That isn't very reassuring.
And this is 10 times funnier than the prequels. And so, Luke and Han disguise as stormtroopers and take Chewie to the prison block so they can break out Princess Leia. And weirdly enough, this isn't actually the character talking, this is the actor. And then they have a shootout. Yeah, that's definitely going to make them go around incognito easier. And then Harrison Ford improvises, and that's what I love about this film. It's a complete wreck of a film in terms of, you know, how it was made. But at the same time, because of this, it makes the film just so much better and so much funnier. Anyway, Harrison Ford improvises. Leia is over-sexualized, and Mark Hamill's tiny.
A little short for a stormtrooper.
Then there's another shootout in the prison block, and what's the next step in their great plan? They jump into the rubbish chute. Ah well, I can get past it, as long as there are no weird creatures in the rubbish or anything. God damn it. And then we have the iconic trash compactor scene in which the walls start moving in, and can I just say, the sets in this movie is really good. This film uses practical effects to its best. Like, those actors could have really been crushed. Even Peter Mayhew in that hairy outfit. I wonder if there was a protocol droid in the other side telling them to close the walls. But then C-3PO and R2-D2 rescue them. Then Obi-Wan turns off the tractor beam. And then the stormtroopers arrive at... I'm sorry, I can't see with a straight face through that. Stormtrooper just hit his head against the door.
Take over. Take over.
And that's the downside of the film. While we do get good costumes, like from C-3PO, Chewbacca, and Darth Vader, we also get some bad ones, which are plain. But again, I can get past that, because there's way better character interaction going on. As soon as it adds Leia, we see that she's not the damsel in distress, she can take care of herself. And that just adds better interaction and comedy to this film. That's right, we finally have a funny Star Wars film. Oh, by the way, I'm referring to the order I'm watching them in. I'm not saying that there have been Star Wars films before this one, I'm just saying it's funny compared to the 4 I've already seen. And I must say, the writing in this film is very funny. Not written by George Lucas. Instead, it's written by Lawrence Kasdan, who clearly knows what he's doing. And thank God, because the writing really is what saves this movie. Oh my god! Wilhelm, the stormtrooper, just appeared. Not seriously note though, guys, this is the 3rd shootout I've just pointed out, and to be honest, it's actually kind of good that way, because the characters are constantly in danger, they're constantly shooting, they're constantly being shot at, they're constantly running, because they're in a place where they actually can't stop, which makes this that much better in my opinion, with a faster pace. Oh, sorry, I think I just threw up. Luke just kissed his sister, god damn it. And then Ben and Vader finally, Obi-Wan and Vader finally have a fight. And let's be honest, this is more of a quote-off than a lightsaber duel, because if it was a lightsaber duel, It would be terrible, and to be honest, the lightsaber fighting isn't that good in this scene here, considering this is the only lightsaber fight in the film, and I'm really not impressed with our first lightsaber fight, to be honest. It just doesn't look right, because it has two actors that aren't really ready to do that much fighting. Compare it to any of the other films, and it feels way better than this. However, luckily, of course, we have some dialogue which just keeps the scene moving. And then the group of them arrive at the Millennium Falcon, and also the Stormtroopers see Obi-Wan and Vader fighting it out, and all the Stormtroopers leave. And then Obi-Wan essentially commits suicide. Yeah, hold on a second. How exactly is this a distraction? I mean, now you've lost your life, and that's basically it. I mean, it never really helped Luke out, because he just stayed to shoot some people. So that was pointless. Obi-Wan, you killed yourself for nothing. You flippin' idiot. And then they leave, and the captain of the ship has no clue where they're meant to be going. So Leia can comfort her brother, or just kiss him or something, while he's mourning for Ben, even though it's Ben's own fault he died. Idiot. And even after all that stuff in the Death Star, the Empire's power still extends further than that, as we get the iconic TIE Fighters now coming to attack the Millennium Falcon. And it doesn't really add much to the film, but it tells us, like, the Empire means business. And then they arrive on the Rebel base. However, they need to be careful, because in half an hour, the Death Star is going to blow up the planet that they are currently on. And one thing that I kind of have a problem in this film is we never really have proper setup for anything. It's just there. So it's the ultimate franchise builder. Yet again, when it built the creation of the Empire and the Alliance, yeah, let's just say it didn't do that too well. And with the data from R2-D2, we get pretty much the entire blueprints of the Death Star and an incredibly stupid weakness. I mean, come on. What designer, when I know, will have a hole that leads straight to the reactor? But anyway, they learn they need to go down a trench into the Death Star, fire a torpedo down this stupidly made hole, and they should blow up the Death Star. And so, because of this, we have a race against time now, because either they destroy it, or it destroys them, which is pretty clever in my opinion. But Han leaves the fight, because he's a moron.
All wings report in.
Red 10 standing by.
Red 7 standing by. Red 3 standing by. Red 6 standing by.
Red 9 standing by.
Red 2 standing by.
Red 11 standing by.
Red 5 standing by.
And of course, then we meet a load of our pilots, and we start heading off to the Death Star. And in a way, it's like a countdown, and so much tension is put into this finale. As I said, they destroy it, or it destroys them, and because Luke's in that ship along with R2-D2, it really adds some tension to the scene. As well as that, the entire list of characters are at risk because of this, because all the rebels back on the base could be blown up at any second as soon as the Death Star's ready. But ties and guns show up, and slowly each member of the rebels team is picked off. And then their attacks on the trenches don't go well either, and things are starting to get desperate, especially since Darth Vader is now in the field trying to take everyone down. And now, we have conflict, we have a reason for conflict, we have characters to care about in that conflict, and now our main character and our main villain are in the fight, who are fighting for the stakes of the other main characters and the other main villains, which, in my opinion, is just such good writing on their behalf. And after a while of explosions and dogfights, Biggs gets blown up. Oh wait, they cut so much out of this film that I don't even care about Biggs. And then R2 gets hit.
What?
And then Han shows up. And, yeah, essentially his arc in this film is complete. And then the complete idiot that the pilot is, he drives into Vader and then into a wall. And Luke blows this thing and goes home. Okay, that didn't sound right. And then, of course, the Death Star blows up. Bye-bye, Peter Cushing in slippers. And Luke comes back like a hero. God damn it, they're brother and sister. And also, I'm 99% sure Mark Hamill just said Carrie. Huh. And then they get rewarded by paintings, if you can see right there. But one thing that bugs me is What must it really sound like? Hold on, I'll tell you what it would sound like. And then Han and Luke get medals from Leia. Hold on. Why do people like Wedge and Dutch, who are survivors that lived, not get medals? And why does Chewie not get a medal? I mean, he's Han's co-pilot who also saved the day, technically. Ah well, I guess Chewie doesn't deserve a medal because he's furry. You freaking racist, I swear to God! And then R2 is fixed up. I guess they like droids more than Wookiees. Hashtag Wookiee Lives Matter. This is racism right here. And with that, our film ends. So, what do I actually think of this film? Well, it's like a lightning in a bottle chance. The production of this film wasn't that good, and strictly speaking, nothing about it should have worked. But the weird thing is, it did. And to me, that was due to just its amazing cast and writing. And I think everything in this film is almost perfect. Admittedly, the acting for some of the characters isn't that good, and while it does set up a lot of universe, the universe that it sets up just isn't explored that much in the film, which is a bit of a problem for me. As I said, there are a couple of editing issues in this film as well. However, this is what I will say. The film to me does hold up with most of the effects. There are some which don't hold up today. However, it is a very well written story that made me care so much about it. And as you can tell from like the 11 or 12 times I've said iconic, the iconic count is very high, and this is truly like an icon for pop culture. But do I have any criticisms for the film? Well, yes. For one, Leia and Luke kissing each other, but there are a couple of other problems I have. Darth Vader doesn't have much backstory. As I said, the editing isn't that good. The action's a bit off, in my opinions. The acting is also a bit off, in my opinion. However, I still can really enjoy the film, as I think it has great character, it sets up this great universe, and has amazing practical effects. Like these effects stand up better than the prequels do. Admittedly, there are some in this film which just don't stand up that well, but weirdly enough, they're better than the prequels. And finally, where does it stand with the rest of the Star Wars films? To quickly go through them, The Phantom Menace got a 1 out of 5, which is bleach required. Then, Attack of the Clones got 0 out of 5, suicide. Revenge of the Sith got 3 out of 5, a waste of time. And Clone Wars also, I believe, got a waste of time, which is also 3 out of 5. This film, however, is the best out of the 5 I've reviewed so far. So I've reviewed the prequels, the Clone Wars, and this one. And I gotta say, this is by far the best one out of all of them. Are there any other things I can really say about it, though? Well, kind of. The thing is, with its story issues, with some of its effect issues, I'm gonna say it is a near perfect movie, and I love this film. This is probably the most I've loved it out of every single time I've seen it. And even though it's not my favourite of the Star Wars films, I'm still giving it 5 out of 5. Freaking awesome. And that's all I've got to say. And guys, I'm sorry that this video's come out a bit later than I expected. As I said, I didn't expect it to come out this late. But I've been busy with a lot of other stuff. So my Empire Strikes Back review is going to come out later on. Obviously, it's going to come out in September. And anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Go and check out my gaming channel, MrChicken167. And go and check out my Twitter, MrChicken167. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment anything you want. And I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.